day 28 of the Pebble a Day challenge, and today's prompt is architecture. And we're not going to do anything on today's project that we haven't done before, so I've no top tips or top tutorials for you. However, what I do want to say is that when you are creating something under a specific theme, what you can do to really make it sing is to make sure that everything you do is in keeping with that very same theme. So you don't just have a random window stuck in the middle of nowhere, that everything that is about, or everything that you use on this particular page, project, whatever you're doing in your journal, is to do with that. So let me talk you through what I've got. I have a particular love for a magazine called Modern Rustic that is a interior architectural magazine, and I find some pictures in there, and the one that I choose to use is this open window. I've also grabbed some old sewing patterns. So here's why I chose to use that. Architecture for me is more than just about building. Architecture is the design of something, it's the bringing together of ideas. And quite often I talk about all sorts of different stuff that as a psychotherapist that I've been through, and challenges with various things in my life. But I thought this was a nice time to bring together the architecture of me. So my father was an incredible architect and builder, hence why I'm using the properties to do with buildings, the windows, and my mum is an incredible seamstress, so hence the sewing paper. And so the two bits together are about creating the architecture, the foundations of me. There you go. So sewing paper, really lovely to use in collage materials because it's see-through. It's made of tissue paper, so like all the previous tissue papery type projects that we've done, that's how this begins. By the way, in the comments below, I'd like to know what your parents did for a job. Do you even know? Do you know what their first jobs were? Put the answer in the comments below. What's the architecture of you? And then think about who you are as a person and the ways that you do things. Can you see how your parents' jobs have influenced you, or their passions have influenced you? Anyhow, back to this project. Right, this ink here, this is drawing ink, but it is drawing ink with a shimmer, and I bought it in a shop in Sweden of all places, and I have so fallen in love with it, I can't begin to tell you. When you heat it with a heat gun, it does something. It has this raw pigment. You're going to see it in the end. On that layer there, I did it on top of a very watery paint, a very watery water that I'd put with my gel matte medium. But when you just flick it and dry it, it's lovely. So here I've got a stencil, and again, it's quite an architectural stencil. It's blocks, it's brick shaped, and I'm just going to push some gesso through it. Not, you would think you might put modeling paste through it. No, I'm going to use gesso, because when you heat gesso with a heat gun, it bubbles. You've got to be quite careful. It's obviously got something in it that could catch fire, but you put your heat gun nice down and low to it, get a window open so you don't get fumigated by it, and just heat it really close, and you get these crusty bubbles. And again, architecture, we're looking at rawness, we're looking at raw materials, man-made materials. It's yummy. This distress crayon, I put it on there. I don't use them a lot. I'm not totally fond of them. I'm not really sure of their benefit, but anyway, I put it on there because I like blue. It does give a nice contrast with the dark orange of that ink. It also kind of represents old, that pale blue that I've used quite a lot before. So I just move it around with some water and my finger, and then I dry that all off, and then I'm going to get that ink again, and I'm going to splatter it on there like we did yesterday, over one finger, splattering it. Those splats, when they dry, So my next stages is I use my template to draw out my pebble shape. I then use my finger to smudge it, smudging into and over the top of those gesso blocks as well to really bring them into the whole piece. Cut it out, stick it in my book, and that's today done. Oh, no, hang on. I'm running ahead of myself. I On the ledger paper that you can see at the back, and actually the paper that I used to form this pebble, it says name and address on there. And I just thought it was quite poignant about the fact that I am making this piece about me and uh, my foundations, I guess. So I cut out name and address and I stuck it on there. Little note, when you're using text like that, it's really easy to just kind of put glue along it and stick it on like a band. But make it interesting, cut it into the 3 words, put it down somewhere different. So whenever you're using poetry or pieces that you've rescued from a book, break it down. Anyway, that's today done.